Hi everyone, this is the pre-lecture for Business Economics, week 1. Now, online pre-lectures are meant to introduce you to the topic of the week. Now, this being the first week, the pre-lecture will be a bit longer for us to introduce you to the subject, to how you will study the subject, and what we expect of you as students of the subject. Okay, so please pay attention to some of the things that we're going through. Now, for many of you, this will be the first time that you are attending lessons in the form of lecture and tutorial. Okay, this is a tertiary institution. Like all tertiary institutions, including universities, you attend lectures and tutorials. Now, what are these forms of lesson? Now, lecture is a time where many of you will be sitting together and you'll be hearing about the subject for the first time. So it's like a form of mass teaching. Okay. Subsequently, you will break into your tutorial groups in another slot where there's fewer of you, about the 20 odd of you, where you sit in a class and you attempt questions and practices of the topic. So you go further in depth during tutorial lessons. Okay. Because there will be so many of you that will be attending lectures at the LTs, the lecture theatres, please take a note of the ground rules. First of all, attendance will be taken. We want to know who is there and who is not. Now, lectures will cover a unique part of the lesson. You shouldn't be skipping lectures. Okay, you're expected to be at the lectures. Alright? Now, please be punctual for lecture. Once lecture has started, it's very distracting when you walk in and it will disturb the lecturer as well as the students who are learning. If you are late, quickly come in and quickly find a seat. Okay? When you're in the LT, please remember to put your phone into silent mode and turn off the volume of your laptop if you are using it. Now, because there's so many of you and just one lecturer, please keep the noise level to the absolute minimum. Now, if you keep on making noise to distract the lecturer and the class, you'll be warned. And if you continue making noise, the lecturer will send you out of the room and you could be subjected to disciplinary action. Now, we expect you to behave like grown-ups, so please be nice to one another, including to your lecturer, to ensure that learning carries on smoothly and effectively. Please take note that eating is not allowed in the LT. If you are drinking something, please be careful that it doesn't spill, clear or litter before leaving the LT. Now, lectures are not a time for you to just sit and just listen. Many times you have to take down certain things that are not in the notes. Okay, so this part of the pre-lecture, I will brief you through what you are supposed to do during lectures. Okay? So many students who are attending lectures for the first time, lectures are fast and lectures are condensed with a lot of information that you need to absorb. So what should you do? As professional students, you should have your tools with you. Okay, this includes your writing materials and your additional paper. You shouldn't be turning up to lectures empty-handed. Okay, now you should have gotten your course book that we have provided for you. Okay, now the spaces there may not be enough for you in case you need to write down something. So you need to have additional paper with you. Okay. Next, to prepare yourself for the topic that we'll be learning, look at your notes. The learning objectives are clearly stated there. Okay, so you can look through the notes to prepare yourself for the topic that's coming, and you can listen to pre-lectures like this, okay, to tune in to what is coming. Now, these pre-lectures as well as other self-help and support materials are on LMS. I'll tell you in a while how to access it, okay? Now, most of you will be very familiar with this or how to take down notes. Okay, I'm just going through briefly. You stress by highlighting or circling, and then you add additional information that's not there or your own way of understanding, and then you go into post note taking. Now, after taking down the notes, you tidy rearrange them. Okay, you create your own notes like mind mapping, and the best is you share with your friends. Okay, when a group of you share things together, you learn better. Also, the entire process that you learn, okay, before lecture, you read the text or the notes, as well as listen to pre-lectures like this. You go to lecture, you take down notes, you tidy them, okay? You go through them and then you do the tutorials. Okay, you formulate your questions that you have and then you ask questions in tutorial classes. Okay? Now, everyone has different ways to take down notes. Now, as long as you know that you're not supposed to just sit around in lecture theaters, okay, that's good enough. All right. So take down whatever you think is important, and your studying habits, taking down notes, will evolve over time. All right. Okay, I want to move on to talk a little bit about the subject that you'll be learning, which is economics. Now, economics is a fundamental subject in most all business courses, all right, or whether it's in polytechnics or universities. The subject itself evolves largely from the 17th, 18th century, okay, which means that the subject is not very old compared to subjects like history and philosophy, okay, but the principles and theories of the subject go way back. All right, taken from perhaps religious texts, philosophy books, okay? So it largely takes the current form in the past few hundred years, okay? Now, you'll be learning your first week what is economics and why do you have to study it, okay? Now, economics is a subject that studies human behavior, all right, which you are part of, okay? So it's a subject that focuses on application. So how do you handle the subject? You should, of course, be reading your notes and attempting the tutorial question. There's a recommended text. If you're interested, take a look at that. Now, what is very useful is you must know what is happening around you. Okay? So if you have not been doing this, it's a good time to start. Now, read newspapers. At least read the headlines so that you know what is happening around you. Econs will study a lot of that. Okay? So you must know what is happening around you. Now, as an econ student, how do you handle the subject? So before we start on the topic at the beginning of the week, you can watch pre-lectures like this on LMS. What is LMS? I'll talk about it in a minute. You should attend your lectures and your tutorials. Okay? Now, you have 3 hours during your tutorials and you have enough time for you to ask all the questions that you have. Now, make sure you do that. Clear your doubts and ask your questions during the tutorial. Don't keep your questions because they will accumulate. And time in Polytechnic moves very fast. If you're not careful, you end up having a lot of questions that's not resolved before the mid-sem test. You don't want that to happen, okay? So make sure you make full use of the time during tutorials to clear your doubts and ask your questions. All right? We will have more support materials for you. Your tutors will be telling you. You can watch online lectures and tutorial videos on LMS as well. Now, what is this LMS? It's our school learning system. Okay, you can log in via lms.tp.edu.sg. Okay, using your email login. Look for your subject, business economics, click, and then all the materials will be there. Now, take some time to familiarize yourself with how the system works and see where all your help materials are. Okay, we'll be going through this in the tutorial again. All right, if you can, log in and then try to navigate and be familiar with the system. All right. Now, contact time between tutor or lecturer with students are much lesser in a tertiary institution compared to, let's say, a secondary school, and you must get accustomed to it. Okay. Now, you must keep yourself contactable. All right. So make sure you check your TP email and the LMS regularly to watch out for news. Okay. To watch out for new materials that are present that can help you. Alright, so make sure you stay contactable by checking your email regularly. Alright? Okay, that's all I have for this week. Now, this week's pre-lecture is a bit long because it's the first week, so we have more things to say. In the coming weeks, pre-lectures will be shorter, but they'll be just as important to introduce you to the topic. Okay, so make sure you catch those videos. Alright, see you in the lecture.